Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another round of sound. This is the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown. I'm Bob Pompeani. We have a lot to get into. The Pirates scored just 5 runs in 4 games. They get swept in Philadelphia. The NFL draft is coming up. What will the Steelers do? But the #1 topic tonight on the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown will be the Penguins, who advanced to round number 2. That's 9 consecutive Series 1. And here is your panel, left to right on your television screen. Tim Benz, Trib Live, Steelers Radio Network there. On the left, in the middle, it's Ron Cook, outstanding columnist with the Post-Gazette and the Cook and Pony Show on 93.7 The Fan. Chris Mack, who handles all the pre- and post-game for the Pittsburgh Pirates on The Fan as well. So, coming into this playoff series, there were concerns by the Penguins, their inability to win consistently on the road, and their penalty killing, which had seen some bad days leading up to the playoffs. They seem to address those. Ron Cook, overall, your thoughts on how they did in this series and just an overall view of it?
Well, I mean, obviously, they're just a tremendous team that seems to be able to turn it on when they want to. Such high-end talent. We saw it today. Crosby gets the first goal. Kessel scores. Kessel had the great steal and assist, and obviously Gensel with the 4 goals. I thought the defense was much better. I don't think Philly had a shot for 10 minutes in the third period, did they? And it started 4-4, and then the Penguins just pulled away from them. Overall, about what you'd expect, they're a much better team. I'm surprised it took them to the 6th game and not the 5th, but who's complaining? They're going to have some time off now waiting, Columbus or Washington. Yeah,
and I think there's a silver lining here, too, guys, as we found out there's more center depth on this team than we thought, right? Riley Sheahan played lights out today, particularly on the PK. You certainly don't want to go too long without Evgeny Malkin if you don't have to. But I think you feel a little bit better with the way both Brassard and Sheahan played with increased minutes today.
Another thing, Bob, that you mentioned about issues facing the Penguins coming into the playoffs that weren't great to start the postseason, one of them was Jake Gensel. He hadn't been scoring. He got himself a goal in the last game of the regular season. That seemed to jumpstart him here in the postseason. Let me check here. He just scored again. All right, he was phenomenal today. All right, and I wrote about this in the Trib right before the playoffs started.
Yeah, kudos to you. You said it was necessary, and they got it.
Exactly. They needed to get him going. He needed to get himself going. I mean, you're playing with Sidney Crosby. You got to get yourself going because he's going to get you going, and that happened for sure here in this game. And I thought he was pretty good throughout the series against the Flyers. That's a big plus for Pittsburgh to have him on the score sheet quite a few times here. And that first line now really looks like a first line, and it better be because we don't know how long Malkin is going to be out. Mike Sullivan really tried to deadpan that when he was asked after Game 5 about Malkin's status. You know, how is he? He said, he played the rest of the game. He's fine. He's fine. If you saw how that leg bent, that wasn't going to be fine once he got the boot off. So it's a good thing they got some time off here before they have to play Washington or Columbus based on Malkin's health.
Problems moving forward might include the power play. It was #1 in the NHL this year. But, Chris, when you look at it in the series, they only had 1 really good game on the power play. The rest of it was bad. As a matter of fact, you could argue that the Flyers special teams in the last 2 games was better overall. Your thoughts on that and what has to change?
At the very least, yeah, you can make that argument about the power play. I think you can blame some of that on the lack of Hornquist for parts of this series, and you could certainly write some of it off to not having Malkin today. But whether both of those guys are healthy or not going into the next round, they've got to figure some things out. And whether it's traffic in front, whether it's better shot selection from the outside, or simply spending more time in the zone, i.e. getting in quicker. They've got issues to figure out on the power play, especially if you're going up against the Capitals in the second round. You know that's going to be a special teams battle.
I'll take my chances with the talent that they have, and what a difference Hornquist makes coming back. I thought he was just terrific today. They look like a different team to me when he is out on the ice. They missed him the previous 2 games. I think that is a big reason they were 0 for 5 in game number 5 on the power play. I would expect it to pick back up. It's just too good to keep down for too long.
Well, the only reason we saw a Game 6 today was because the power play was an atrocity in period 2 of Game 5. The 4-on-3 was terrible, and then they gave up the shorthanded goal. It was a virtual shorthanded goal to open up the second period today for Philadelphia. So from my point of view, yeah, I do want to see some things addressed. And Chris, you alluded to this. One big point, Ed Olczyk brought this up on the NBC broadcast today when you talked about entering the zone. That's something that they like to do with Malkin or Phil Kessel. Yeah, and Malkin usually carries a lot of those duties, and he wasn't there today. And I do think that's something to watch moving forward. There
was a hit by Claude Giroux. He had one earlier in the series, which I thought went over the line on Chris Letang, and there was another one today on Carl Hagelin. Ron, as you looked at that, how did you see it? Was it, to me, it should have been a penalty at least. It was either interference or a late hit. Your take on that one?
I had no problem with that one. I thought it was just good, hard hockey. The one Giroux hitting Letang I thought was dirty. I thought he saw him coming and he intentionally brought up his elbow. The one today, I didn't have a problem with it. I know Hagelin probably did. He was spitting out blood and probably a few teeth. And, you know, Kessel obviously saw it as a dirty play because he tried to get after Giroux, ends up getting a roughing penalty. When Phil Kessel gets involved physically like that, you know the team thought it was dirty. I didn't think so. I didn't think he hit him in the head. I thought he just caught Hagelin looking down.
I don't think it was patently dirty. I don't think we can look at it that way. I do think it was borderline, and it's one of those ones that needs to be called if the NHL is serious about cleaning up the game and calling playoff games. We've talked about this for years now. Calling playoff games the same way they call regular season games. I think there's a good chance that Giroux hit on Hagelin, which was a split second late, and he did come up off his skates at the last second, is called a penalty during the regular season.
Chris, you're, I think, onto something here when you talk about dirty versus just illegal. Some hits are illegal without being dirty. That was an illegal hit from Claude Giroux. It was late, and you can say that he left his feet as well. That should have been, at the very least, interference. Penguins got away with that big cross-check from Justin Schultz late in the game as well. Don't forget that.
And Letang nearly took out.
Letang cross-check on Giroux.
And
then he takes another stupid cross-check. He's got to rein that in somehow. I mean, those two cross-checks tonight could have really beaten that team.
But to their credit, guys.
One thing real quick, though, just on the point about the jumping or the interference from Claude Giroux. NBC went out of its way really quickly to say, oh, it's a clean hit. Let me ask you something. If that's Radko Gudas, do you think they're going out of their way to say it's a clean hit?
No.
If that's Leighton, like a marginal
why would
player,
they protect Giroux? Because he has I know he's a star, but he also has a reputation of being a dirty player.
Well, but he's a star, and they made it sound like it was a clean hit, where I think if it's somebody of lesser importance.
I thought it was. I didn't have a problem with it.
And moreover, there were plenty of scrums Connor Sherry got mugged in the second period. Cross-checked several times from behind, his helmet ripped off.
Yeah, but he also gave a little bit of that.
He gave some back, but
he got cross-checked and they sent them both off. That's
terrible call.
Ticks off Sullivan. That's what happened the other night with Malkin. He gets Gudas took his legs out, and who was it? Manning knocks him down. He gets up, pushes back, and they send them both off.
And this is part of the problem with the officiating in the playoffs, Ron. That kind of thing is not allowed in the regular season, but you turn the calendar into March and then into April, and the playoffs start, and anything goes, and you cannot allow that kind of play to continue, especially in a series like this one where you know there's bad blood to begin with.
We will continue with the hockey talk. Kudos to Sean Couturier, who played with an MCL tear and was their best player in the last two games. When we come back, we'll talk about looking ahead, next series, and other stuff later. We'll talk about the Steelers in the draft, and the Pirates have lost now, 6 out of 7. They're in third place. We'll get into their problems all coming up right here on the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown. The #1 Cochran Sports Showdown is brought to you by #1 Cochran, Go One Better, and by Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield. Have a greater hand in your health.